Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for those who have sent messages. I've read them and I'm glad that I can help you in some way, or a family member or friend. And thank you for those who have subscribed as well. I hope you're all okay and keeping cool. Drink lots of fluids and keep in the shade because it's very warm today. So I thought today I would answer a few question that was asked from my last video. So it was how I remained supportive before she was ready to start recovery. So how I kept myself focused maybe and able to help her. So I never gave up. You can never give up. You are fighting it as well. It doesn't just affect the person that has the anorexia, it affects everybody around them as well. I did a lot of crying, and I never gave up hope. I was her, and still am, her rock. And that's what you have to be. You have to be there for the good times, for the bad times, in anything, in life in general. That's what you have to do as a parent. And I fought for her. I fought so hard for her. I fought so hard for her to get the proper help that she needed. Then when she did come home and she was pretending that she was recovering, but really anorexia had control over her, I was fighting constantly. And I never gave up on her because I knew deep down she didn't want to be like this. She didn't want to suffer and hurt and go through what she was going through. No one wants that at all. And I know that. I know that of my daughter. I know that. And for anybody that's suffering with anorexia, they don't want it. And until they know deep down that they need help, you have to keep fighting for them. And that can be very difficult. And you can never give up, even though you truly think, I actually can't do this anymore, I can't cope, I can't carry on. You can, and you have to. And you'll have your good days and you'll have your bad days. But you make sure that they know that you're there for them. I always tell my daughter that I'm here for them, or for all of them. That's my job. Then it's a very hard one sometimes, especially when you're going through things like this. And then it's not until you go through things like this you actually realise how tough you are yourself. Before she wanted to recover, it was very, very difficult. Because every day I would be saying things and it's like I'm hitting my head against a brick wall. It's going towards her, what I'm saying, but then it's being bounced back off. And that's very frustrating. And you have to have a lot of patience. And they don't mean to be nasty to you. They don't mean to take forever to eat. None of this is what they want, but what the anorexia in their head is telling them is just evil. Just evil. And until you realize that is what you're up against, until you understand that that mental illness is what you're up against, it's very difficult for you. You have to realize what you're fighting against. And that comes with reading and finding things out and research. Because I promise you, if you research and you start to figure out how it's working in their head, what this horrible coercive voice is telling them, then it's very difficult for you to fight that battle as well. Because you're fighting against it. You're fighting against something completely invisible. And you don't see the fight that's going on inside your child's head, or your friend's head, your partner's head, whatever. You can't see that. And how you do see that is when it comes out in anger and shouting and screaming and hitting the head or whatever. That is when you'll see them really struggle. And then you need to realize that it's not them, it's that illness in their head that's taking control. And so until I started educating myself, I found it very difficult. I did find it difficult. Anybody would find it difficult. You hear about anorexia, but you don't hear about what actually it is. You just think, oh, well, they're not eating. They clearly don't want to eat. They don't like food. That's not true. They do like food. They do like food. And their body's crying out for it. Their organs are crying out for it. But the anorexia, that mental illness in their head, is saying you don't need it. And that's not fair on them. Not fair on them at all. But that's things you don't hear about. You don't hear about that side. You don't hear about why they're like that. You just get told, oh, they've got an eating problem, when it's not. It's a mental health illness that causes that. And so when that first started, for me to understand, I found quite difficult. I've never come across it. And that's when I really had to start to think, right, okay, I need to figure out what's going on here. I need to understand what is happening, because you can only do so much, and then you start getting frustrated because you think, well, why, what am I saying that's making you so upset? Or why me doing this for you? You think that this is bad, but it's not bad. I'm just trying to be a mum, and I'm trying to provide for you and trying to give you your food and your drink, and it's not until you start educating yourself you're like, okay, well, I understand now why it takes them 2 hours to eat a few bits of food, because they're not sure when they're next going to be allowed to eat by the anorexia, and they are so hungry they think making it last longer will curb that hunger, but it doesn't. It just makes them very, very poorly. Or why all of a sudden did she just shout at me? Or why is she hitting her head? Well, she's hitting her head because the voice inside her head is driving her absolutely insane. And that's horrible. And it's not until you start understanding the mental health side of it that you start realizing what is going on. And for you to understand what is going on inside their head, will help you so much. Will help you so much, will help them so much. It's a real battle, and when it's bad and when that anorexia has real control and there is nothing you can do, it is so, so horrible. Horrible to see, horrible to watch. No one should have to go through that. Nobody. They haven't deserved to get anorexia. They haven't done anything wrong to have it. You've never done anything wrong for them to have it. It's just a mental illness that rears its ugly head and takes control of some beautiful soul's life that doesn't deserve it at all. They deserve to be happy. They deserve to be living a normal life, being able to sit down and have a popcorn at the cinema and go out with friends and just be, in my case, my daughter, just be a teenager. That she shouldn't have to worry about what she can and can't eat because the anorexia is telling her, or that why is she eating that, or you can't drink this, you can't do this. That's not fair. Not fair on anybody. So coping at the early stages was very difficult until I started educating myself on it. And that's so, so important. And I know you've got busy lives. Believe me, when I was working, I was very, very busy. Very busy. And I suppose the early stages, I did kind of throw myself into work a bit. It was a release. It was that time where not that I didn't worry, but it was a time where I could just concentrate on something else. And it's not a bad thing, but at the same time, I didn't give myself time to actually absorb what was going on and to start figuring it out. Instead, I wasn't burying my head in the sand, because I wasn't, but I don't know, I think maybe I was scared, maybe I was running a little bit, and to go to work and just to switch my mind onto something else, it helped me. And it wasn't until I had this thing where I just went, actually, I sort of woke up and I went, that's not right. This isn't right. I really need to sort this out. I need to take control now. And that's what I did. And so I stopped work, and sorry about that, someone came at the door. Where was I? So yeah, I kind of had this wake up call and went, I really need to sort this out. And that's when I packed up work, and that hasn't been easy, packing up work, especially with the increase of all the bills and everything. So that's been really difficult. Really had to tighten our belts with that. And I started reading, and I started educating myself on it, and that helped me a lot. So yeah, the first stage is I kind of buried my head in my work, which I'm only human, and that's what some people do. So don't be hard on yourself if that's what you've done or what you're doing. I can completely understand that. It was difficult. It was very difficult. Very, very difficult. Scary. Very scary. But at the same time, you need to stay positive. You are that strong person for your daughter, son, partner, whoever, friend. You are their support. And you can never, ever give up on them, because they need you, and they need you to believe and push them in the right direction, push that anorexia away and push them into having a life. because they need that. They need to know that things will get better. They need to understand this isn't going to be forever. That yes, it's going to be very difficult, very tough. It's going to have its challenges. It's going to be absolutely mentally draining for them, physically draining for them, especially when they're extremely poorly. But you have to keep pushing forward, because that is so important for you to be there for them and for never giving up on them. You are their rock. I call myself now a cheerleader because I just cheer her on constantly. And every now and then I have to step in and push that anorexia away, because it can just be so nasty. It can just come at any point. And you really need to remember that. And sometimes it can take you by surprise. And you go, wow, where did that come from? Because we were having a great day. Well, that's the reason. You're having a great day. Anorexia doesn't want them to have a great day. Anorexia doesn't want them to get better. It's going to start shouting a bit louder. But then when it starts shouting really loud, that's when you know you're doing things right. Because it's scared. It's a bully, so it's going to start louder and louder, and you have to shout loud back, and you have to push it back. So when it says, no, they can't have that, that's not right, and I say to my daughter, you know, is it loud? She said, yeah. I said, well, then you do the opposite to what it's telling you. You have that, you eat that, you drink that, because you're pushing that anorexia away. And that's what you need to do. Sorry about that, interrupting all the time. Yeah, so very, very difficult at the beginning, and I completely understand how parents are feeling lost, scared, helpless, because it's very, very difficult. But please never, ever, ever give up. You're their rock, you're their support. You're there when things are really bad and you have to push that anorexia back for them, because they're too tired, they're too weak to do it. So you have to be there and you have to push for them. And please do read, do talk to each other as much as you can. Sometimes, especially in the early stages, they might not want to talk about it. And that's understandable. They're trying to figure it out themselves. They've got this voice in their head that sounds like them but isn't them, that's just being so nasty to them. And they don't understand it themselves. It's very, very confusing. But make sure, yeah, you never give up. Never give up. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel scared, sad, lost. Oh, so many emotions that you'll go through, that you'll all go through as a family unit or as a friendship unit. You'll all go through that. But it's a process you have to go through, and that's okay. And it will get better. It will get better. You just got to stick together, keep pushing, keep supporting, and keep focused. And it will get better. Talking is so important. Talking is very important. And just, if they're going through a really, really bad time, they don't want to talk about it, just be there. You don't have to talk. Hold their hand. Sit there with them. They're not alone. Make sure that they know that they and understand that they're not alone, because it's very scary what they're going through, and it's very scary for what you're seeing them go through as well. Be there for each other. It's so important. So important. So I hope I've answered that question as much as possible, and that it makes sense. And I want you to know as a parent, a carer, family member, friend, that you are not alone, because you are going through it. And it is very difficult. Very difficult. But make sure you get time to speak to people as well. There's no shame in you asking for help, because you need to be strong for your child, for that person. And if you're struggling, then that won't help them. So please ask for help. If it's not a counsellor, speak to a good friend, a family member. Please do that for your health, for your own mental health. It's so, so important, because it does affect you as well. But yes, it does get better, and you will have amazing days on the recovery journey. Amazing. Sorry, I just had problems with my phone. I don't know what's going on today. You will have your really good days, and you will be so proud. And then sometimes after those good days, because they've done so well, the anorexia will just go, wow, what are you doing? Like the following day, and start trying to push them back. And that's when you need to be strong, and they need to be strong too. But with your support, you can guide them in the right direction. You can fight that anorexia together. So I hope I've answered that question okay. If you do have any other questions, please do let me know. Subscribe to the channel, and I hope you have a lovely, safe weekend. And next week it's going to be hot, so look after yourselves, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye bye.